Ravens fans, have you ever imagined our team hoisting the AFC North title after such a roller coaster season? Well, it's still totally possible, but the road ahead won't be. We're talking about a nail-biting stretch of crucial games, tough scenarios, and moments where every detail matters. But don't worry, I'm here to break it all down for you and show exactly what needs to happen for the Ravens to take this massive step toward the top of the division. Pay close attention. There's math to do, results to combine, and even that one head-to-head clash that could change everything. Will the Steelers stumble? Will the team seize every opportunity? The answers are right here, and I promise you every second of this matters in the final push. Stay with me until the end to see how our team can turn the tide and claim the title it so rightly deserves. Go Ravens! The win against the Steelers was more than just a 34-17 blowout. It was a statement that the Ravens are ready to fight for the AFC North crown until the very end. After a season full of ups and downs, this game served as a turning point, bringing confidence back to the squad and proving that Baltimore can deliver when it truly matters. Every phase of the game clicked, and the performance was exactly what the fans wanted to see during this critical time. But let's not forget, the battle isn't over. Even with this big win, the Steelers still lead the division, thanks to the tiebreaker that favors their better conference record. This means that while the victory was crucial, the Ravens need to go even further in the final two games to leapfrog Pittsburgh. Mistakes are off the table, and every small detail in the coming weeks will be key to keeping the team in the race for the AFC. Now, all eyes turn to the challenges ahead for the Ravens. The team must bring the same focus and intensity to the next two games, starting with a Christmas Day clash against the Texans on the road. This matchup is critical to keep the Ravens' hopes alive, especially since the Steelers' road ahead isn't a walk in the park. The next round promises to be a game-changer, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What's coming up won't be easy, but the Ravens are more than capable of rising to the challenge. On Christmas Day, the team heads to Houston to face the Texans, a squad that's been tough to beat at home. Meanwhile, the Steelers face the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most dangerous teams in the league, which could open the door for Baltimore to gain an edge. Still, even on the road, the Ravens must bring their A-game and secure every point, because every win is crucial in this final stretch. The last week of the regular season doesn't get any less intense. Baltimore hosts the Browns, a team notorious for spoiling divisional rivals' plans, while the Steelers stay in Pittsburgh to face the Bengals. Home field advantage is always a fact, and the Steelers will enjoy it in both remaining games, giving them a potential edge. On the other hand, the Ravens face the pressure of playing away before returning home to battle another divisional rival, making their path even more daunting. These final games are like a marathon where every detail counts. For the Ravens, the formula is clear: win both games and hope the Steelers drop. But can Baltimore overcome these hurdles and capitalize on a potential Pittsburgh slip-up? With both teams tied at 10-5, the AFC North race has never been this close. While the Ravens and Steelers have already secured playoff spots, the division title still holds immense value. The problem is Pittsburgh currently has the upper hand, thanks to the tiebreaker based on conference performance. The Steelers boast a 7-3 record in the AFC compared to the Ravens' 6-4, which means Baltimore has to push harder to close the gap. The only way the Ravens can claim the division without relying on tiebreaker is by winning more games than the Steelers over the next 2 weeks. If both teams win or lose their remaining games, Pittsburgh takes the title, leaving Baltimore as a wild. This shows that John Harbaugh's team has no room for error, especially with each game carrying so much weight. The players know this is a zero margin for error situation, which only adds to the pressure. This intense race for the title puts the Ravens in a position where every play in the coming games is critical. The team must handle its own business and hope the Steelers falter. But what happens if both teams win or lose one game each? That's when things start to get even more complicated. Alright, we've hit the halfway mark in the video, but I noticed you haven't liked this video yet. That simple click makes a huge difference. It helps YouTube show you more of my content and keeps me motivated to bring you the latest updates. So go ahead, hit that like button. It's free. Thanks. Let's keep going. The clearest path for the Ravens is to win their last 2 games and hope for at least one Steelers loss. In that case, Baltimore would clinch the AFC North title without relying on tiebreakers. But there's also a more complex scenario that could still work in the Ravens' favor. If Baltimore beats the Browns but loses to the Texans while Pittsburgh beats the Chiefs and loses to the Bengals, the Ravens would have the upper hand in the divisional record and could take the title. On the flip side, if the Steelers beat the Bengals, the Ravens' chances diminish significantly. In this situation, Baltimore would need to win both remaining games and hope Pittsburgh loses to the Chiefs. This highlights how slim the margin for error is and how every game will have a massive impact on the division's outcome. The good news is that the Ravens have shown resilience all season, and this trait could be the deciding factor in the weeks ahead. This mix of scenarios makes it clear that the Ravens need to be ready for anything. Every result will directly affect the final standings, and the team must be prepared to capitalize on any opportunity that comes its way. The big question now is, will the Steelers slip up, or will Baltimore need to pull off the impossible? Currently, the odds of winning the AFC North are slightly better for the Steelers. According to projections from the New York Times, Pittsburgh has a 53% chance of securing the title, while Baltimore stands at 47%. This narrow difference reflects the balance between the two teams, but also shows that the Steelers have a small advantage by controlling their own destiny. However, the odds can shift quickly depending on the results of the upcoming round. For the Ravens, these numbers don't mean all is lost. In fact, they still have a good chance, especially if they manage to beat the Texans on Christmas and put pressure on the Steelers to get a result against the Chiefs. The key now is to stay focused and seize every opportunity, as even the smallest mistake can be costly. Moreover, the team's confidence is high after the win against the Steelers, which could be a decisive factor in balancing this contest. All of this creates a scenario where every on-field decision will have enormous weight. For Baltimore, the important thing is to maintain momentum and keep believing, because the chances are still there. And more than that, winning now means much more than just a division title. It could be the fuel the team needs to go deep into the playoffs. What's at stake in the coming weeks goes far beyond the AFC North title. If the Ravens fail to win the division, they will enter as the 5th seed in the AFC, which means a wild card matchup against the Texans. While it may seem like a good path, playing on the road in the playoffs is always more challenging, and this position could complicate things for Baltimore in the postseason. On the other hand, if they win the division, the Ravens will have the advantage of playing at home in the first round, which completely changes the perspective. On the flip side, if the Steelers win the division, they will be the 3rd seed and face the Chargers, a team with its own weaknesses, but also a lot of talent. This difference in final position shows how crucial it is to win now for a more favorable playoff path. For Baltimore, the opportunity to decide important games at home could be the push the team needs to go even further in the postseason. This final stretch is not just about the AFC North, but also about how each decision will affect the team's future in the playoffs. The Ravens need to think big and use these games as a final test to prove they can face any challenge. Now is the time to show that Baltimore is ready to shine in the most important moment of the season. So that's it, Ravens fan. Now you know exactly what the team needs to do to win the AFC North. The next games are crucial, and each result will directly impact our future this season. We're in a tight race with the Steelers, but we still have our chances, and it all depends on how the team performs in this critical moment. And I want to hear from you. Do you think the Ravens will overcome these challenges and lift the division title? Leave your comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep following this exciting final stretch of the season. Let's go together on this journey.